Good evening, everyone. This is Wounded Families 101, and tonight's date is March 21st, 2022. And I thank you all for coming to our live broadcast. We should be on Facebook as well as YouTube. So we greet you, every one of you. All of you are welcome to come to the broadcast. And we would just like to remind the local uh, people who are coming on, please, once again, um, we need you to fill out a form, certification form, so that we can continuously receive funding from the government. It is just for them to know who we're serving in the community of Hagerstown, because we're not the only ones that need to be served, but we don't want home to be left out. So we just are grateful that we are being considered in these times. So just another reminder for the Hagerstonians. I would like to open up with our food for thought. I like to give that out, um, and it's keys to a victorious life. Close the door to the enemy. One of the best commitments we can make is to speak good, positive words. Sometimes, when we truly can't think of anything good to say, it is wise to say nothing at all. Making a commitment to speak only good things does not mean we will no longer be tempted to speak negative words. In fact, the enemy may tempt us even more than before because he knows the power of words. The very thought that we would commit to improve our words is frightening to him. We need to remember that the enemy can only influence and control our words to the extent that we allow him to do so. If we ask God for grace and discipline ourselves to stop speaking negatively, we close a door of opportunity to the enemy. He will always tempt us to do and say what is wrong, but we can resist him and gain victory. I hope that someone got something out of that food for thought, for I did. And I'm going to continuously work on me. Now we're going to go to our lesson for tonight. In the past, we have talked about numerous things. And I think that I mentioned in the beginning that we come here with a holistic approach. And I just wanted to talk to you tonight concerning the holistic approach. And you're finding that a lot of doctors and nurses and therapists are seeking our mental health. They're seeking out to approach their patient, clients, whomever, with this comprehensive model of caring, which is believed to be the heart of the science of caring or nursing. Also wanted to point out some things. The philosophy behind holistic care is based on ideal of holism, which emphasizes that for human beings, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, and that mind and spirit affects the body. We do know that the body is made up, or we're made of body, soul, and spirit. And we will get further into it as you can see the chart that's posted, and you may not can see it because it is small letters. But the threefold nature of man is what we're going to put emphasis on tonight because we want you to get clarity of what we're doing, what we're presenting. And even though we've talked about depression, we talked about anxiety, we talked about PTSD, we talked about being traumatized, we talked about grief, we talked about so many things in the past few weeks. But are you understanding that we're not just wanting to just help you in one area, but we want to deal with the whole body? Holistic care includes a wide range of approaches, including medication, education. That's what we're here doing, educating you on things that you are not aware of, bringing awareness to what you're going through. But most of all, how are you going to treat that one thing that you think you need, but we want to meet all your needs? Communication, self-help, and complementary treatment. In holistic care, all aspects of patients and their effects on the treatment process are considered and the patient's thoughts. So it has all of us communicating with one another, working on what is best for you. How are we going to deal with your situation? Um, in processing this and treating whatever is going on in your life, the patient, we are considering your thoughts, and you might not be a patient, but you may be an individual who is in this group. We have to consider your thoughts, your emotions, cultures, opinions, and attitudes. And these are factored in as a contributing to recovery, happiness, and satisfaction. I know that sometimes we feel like it doesn't take all this, but I guarantee it takes this and some more. And we have work to do because we want to be made whole. We want to be complete. We want to be healthy. So, holistic care respects human dignity. For example, if you're experiencing chronic pain, a holistic healthcare provider might prescribe medication or recommend surgery or to repair an injury. But they also recommend that you increase your endorphins naturally by getting more exercise. They'll ask about your diet, and how many can relate to that? I know oftentimes they say you need to, how's your diet? You need to change your diet. You need to exercise. You need to tell us how certain foods contribute to your inflammation. There's a lot to consider in being made whole. And they'll ask about stress, which we have talked about, anxiety and depression, all of which can cause pain. We brought that out. So we want to be reminded, or we want to remind you, because I am being reminded every time I read it, how that these foods or these things that I do may cause inflammation or cause stress, anxiety, depression, and which causes the increase of pain. And the doctor may refer you to a therapist. That's if you so desire. Then they may also recommend a massage to relax your muscles. They might give you muscle relaxers to relax the muscles, but then you have to deal with how long am I going to sleep? Some people may be low tolerance for medication, like I am. So I take a low dose, but that doesn't mean that I'm not going to still sleep. I may not sleep as long as I would if I take a higher dose, but it is important to rest. Don't get me wrong, but I just don't like that I sleep a whole day without getting anything done when I am a productive person. I like to feel as though that I did something productive. Okay, and he may or she may even send you to have acupuncture to help with nerve pain or mindful mediation to help with pain management and stress relief. But rather than treating the pain, they'll treat the person and use all the tools at their disposal to do it. Um, as I was just stating, that you might even be given a diet, an exercise, psychotherapy, relationship and spiritual counseling, and more complementary and alternative therapies. So we have a lot of things that may be out there to do, but is it helping? Is it relieving you of your pain? So we want to make sure that you understand why we are dealing with the holistic approach. Um, Holistic health is an approach to life that considers multi-dimensional aspects of wellness. It encourages individuals to recognize the whole person: physical, mental, emotional, social, intellectual, and spiritual. And I also want to tell you before I go a little further about the threefold nature of man. If you look at the chart and you see at the top, it talks about the body or the soma, the dimension of man. This is the part that deals with the physical realm. And this is the house in which we live. And this is world conscious. The next part is dealing with the soul. And that is in the inner circle here. And the Greek term for that is psyche. And this is the dimension of man. And this deals with the mental realm, man's intellect, the sensibilities and will, the part that reasons and thinks. And it is self-conscious. And the third part is a spirit, pneuma. And this is the dimension of man, which deals with the spirit realm and the part of man that knows God. So we cannot deal just with the body when whatever is going on in the body affects the soul and the spirit. And we can't deal with the mind unless we deal with the body and the spirit. And we can't deal with the spirit without dealing with the body and soul. And then we can become whole or complete. Now, I'm going to come back to that, but I'm going to speak to you about doctrine outside the box. Holistic care providers address a wide variety of wellness concerns, and they use a wide variety of clinically proven therapies. And we mentioned a few minutes ago, from surgery and pharmaceuticals to dietary changes and exercise plans to psychological and spiritual counseling. They might also recommend evidence-based alternative therapies such as massage, acupuncture, and yoga for supportive care. So oftentimes we got to get out of the box in order to make sure that every part of the nature of man is being taken care of. Providers of holistic care consider a patient as a whole within his or her environment, and they realize that a patient is made up of a body, mind, and spirit. But it used to be a day and time that doctors, nurses did not want to deal with the body, soul, and spirit. They just want to deal with what was ailing you. Even the church did not want to allow their laymen to go to the doctor to be seen if they were depressed or if they had anxiety or if they had depression, when they're not equipped to handle it or they don't know the first thing about it. So everybody has to think about the holistic approach and collaborate with one another in order, because we should have the same focus, the same reason for seeing individuals is to make them whole, to meet the needs of the individual. Also, I wanted to point something out else here. Providers of holistic care consider a patient as a whole within his or her environment and realize that a patient, like I stated, is made up of body, mind, and spirit. Respecting the patient's role in the treatment, having him or her take part in the process, and encouraging self-care is another aspect. We can't forget your duty, your part in becoming whole. You have to do some self-care. Okay? And this leads to therapeutic consultation, hope, dignity, self-discipline, social growth, and a sense of autonomy, vigor, and vitality. And holistic care increases the depth of care, providers' understanding of patients and their needs, educating patients about self-care and helping them to perform their daily activities independently as part of holistic care. I hope everyone is understanding where I'm coming from, because we can't do it alone, but we must communicate with you and get your participation in helping yourself. I wanted to see if there are any comments or any questions, because I know that this is very important to many, even though they might not express it. But this is important because I believe that there are many here on the broadcast who will love to become whole. And I just want to share with you that my goal is to be made whole. And I'm moving in that direction. I'm striving each and every day to become whole. So I know that somebody else wants to get on this wagon with me to become whole. And you can become whole if you take charge. Not only take charge, but communicate. Not only communicate, but make awareness to whoever you're talking to, your doctor, your medical doctor, your therapist, whoever you see, make sure there is an understanding and that you all are getting your needs met. All right. Holistic care increases the depth of care, providers' understanding of patients and their needs, educating patients about self-care and helping them to perform their daily activities independently as part of this holistic care. As I forestated, palliative, palliative care is part of holistic care, which improves the quality of patients, a patient's life and their emotional and physical well-being. I've seen oftentimes when I would go to the hospital and the doctors didn't give much hope, especially in the palliative care area of the hospital. And they called in this person and another person to meet with the family, and they collaborate together. But some do not remain in that state because of the holistic care. And it increases self awareness and self confidence in the patients and causes the caregivers, the nurses, to better understand the effects of the illness on a person's entire life and his or her true needs. So they get better care. I hope someone is understanding what I'm saying, because that's what our aim is to do, is provide better care. Better care so much that it will cause great changes, positive changes in your life. Um, it also improves harmony between mind, body, and emotions and spirit in an ever changing environment. The American Association of Holistic Nurses supports this belief and points out that holistic nursing includes all the nursing practices that heal the whole of a person. And that should be everyone's vision, to see that the individual heals completely. And we have seen and we have heard that many hospitals, nurses do not have the freedom to perform their tasks independently, and their actions are often observed by doctors. Using holistic care as the framework will result in major changes in the treatment process. A better public view of nursing profession and nurses' autonomy. The holistic care paradigm has been presented to healthcare systems in many cultures, and it can be used in every area of nursing or mental health or any other uh, departments or even in the spiritual sense, in the church, in counseling. Holistic care is not a new method. I don't know why everybody don't know about it, but it's not new. Florence Nightingale developed this type of nursing as a better model of caring. Many other nursing theorists, Ragers, Newman, and Parson, have also emphasized holistic care. Unfortunately, there is compelling evidence that most nurses have been educated with a biomedical allopathic focus and do not have a good understanding of the meaning of holistic care. And it has been suggested that they are not familiar with holistic care, neglect this model of caring, and do not use this method, and consider patients' corporal needs only. In this regard, patients' other needs and sometimes more serious problems are not addressed. And I don't think that we oftentimes understand that what's causing my pain? We don't ask the question, we just know that there's pain. What's causing the inflammation that causes the pain? But we have to put it all together, the body, soul, and spirit, and deal with it. The mental, spiritual, and social needs of patients are neglected oftentimes. We know that. And patients are considered as biological machines. These are some highlights I picked out in my research just to bring some thoughts to your mind, bring some awareness to you so that you too can get understanding and help take control of your health, because you don't have to remain the same. I'm not going to remain the same because I'm going to make sure that every aspect, every situation, whether it be my mental, my physical, or my spiritual needs, they all have to be met. Using the ordinary medical model alone for treatment exposes patients to serious threats, prolongs hospitalizations, and raises treatment costs. In many countries, such as the UK, Australia, and Iran, holistic aspects of patients' needs are often overlooked. And similar studies conducted in the USA have revealed that 67% of American patients in hospitals do not receive holistic care. And a study conducted in England showed that only 5% of hospitalized patients were subject to holistic care. So looking at these statistics here, let you know there's much work to be done. If we need some more answers, this threefold nature of man gives us understanding. We even have the word to direct us. I believe that the two scriptures that's used in the chart, I believe the one was Hebrews 4:12. And I know I wrote it down here on my chart, but I cannot see that on the screen myself, but I have it here before me. And it reads as follows: For the word of God is quick and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the dividing as word of dividing as I can't see the word of soul and spirit, body, soul, and spirit. So that supports that what we're talking about, it's in the word, it's in the Bible. We have a blueprint. We can go there and get whatever we need out of the word to give us understanding. And also in 1 Thessalonians 5:23, it says, body and soul being preserved blameless until the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ. So it's always going to be preserved blameless. But we can't leave the spirit out because it's going to take the spirit to help us to be blameless, to lead us, to guide us. But that is another study. But I just wanted to touch that, and I wanted to bring light to you about this holistic approach and for you to partake in your body, soul, and spirit. We know God is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. We cannot know God or touch him physically. He is not a man. He is a spirit. We cannot communicate with God mentally. I'm still talking about the threefold nature of man. For he is a spirit, but we can reach him with our spirit, and it is through our spirit that we come to know God. Let me repeat that so that you can get clarity if you don't understand. We cannot know God or touch him physically. He is not a man, he is a spirit. We cannot communicate with God mentally, for he is a spirit, but we can reach him with our spirit, and it is through our spirit that we come to know God. In Paul's letters to the church of Thessalonica, we can see a glimpse of man's threefold nature. And it's stated in 1 Thessalonians 5:23, and the very God of peace sanctify you wholly. And I pray, God, your whole spirit and soul and body be preserved blameless until the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ. And our spirits are born of God, but we will have a new body at the coming of the Lord Jesus Christ. So we haven't got our new body yet, but we will if we continue to deal with the whole nature of man. And it has to be done in a balance. You cannot do it once in the body and forget about the soul and the spirit, or you can't do it once in the spirit and forget about the body and the soul. But you have to work on all three natures and watch things happen. I get an understanding more and more as I study about the threefold nature of man, the natural side, the carnal mind, and it doesn't understand what's here in the spiritual realm because the carnal man is not there. It's not allowing the spirit man to guide him. And the mental state is natural. So we have to deal with all the stress and depression and anxiety, but you have to use the holistic approach. We have about 6 minutes left, maybe a little longer than that, 11 minutes. But I knew it was going to be kind of short, but I wanted to place some nuggets out there to you tonight, and also food for you to grab and eat and digest it so that you can be made whole. But there may be somebody that may have comments or even questions. I invite you to make your comments or ask your questions, because I was told many times there are no dumb questions, but we're all here to learn. So in this chart, it talks about the conscience, imagination. It talks about reason, affections, and you find it in the body and soul. And then on the other side, it's talking about, now that is not clear. I can't see that clearly. Imagination, and then it has something there that's not, it didn't come out right. But it's still a good tool to use. And it talks about smell, the nose gate, hearing, the ear gate. It talks about sight, the eye gate. This is in the body realm. Tough in the feel gate, taste, mouth gate. So we know where these senses are in the body, as part of the body. And if you want to take a look at it, you can go online and just put in the threefold nature of man, and you'll get what we're talking about. You'll see a chart that you can look at, and you can even dissect it more, and you can find some literature that will go along with it to educate you even the more, because it's a lot of information on the holistic approach. It's a lot of information on the threefold nature of man. And once we get to know ourselves, granted, we're going to be different if you choose to be, if you let every part have its way and give it what it needs. Allow the body or the man, the nature of man, come alive in you. I hope you're understanding where I'm coming from. And I didn't see any hands. I didn't see any questions or comments. So it's about 7 minutes before 8:45. And I don't want to keep talking. I don't want to take any thoughts away from you as you're thinking about what you heard tonight. But think on these words, and I will see you on Monday night, and I believe that will be March the 28th. And we would love for you to come back to the broadcast. If you have questions, feel free. Nobody's going to scare you. Nobody is going to run you away, but we just want you to take control of yourself, and let's heal together. Let's become whole together. So if nothing else, we will let you go a little early tonight, and we will see you on the 28th at 8 o'clock p.m. God bless you.